Today I want to talk to you about not fitting in, about going against the grain, about standing out, about being the motherfucking black sheep. My whole life I've gone against the grain. I never followed directions. I always walked my own path. And though it may be difficult, I found that path to be pretty goddamn exciting. Now, it's not always easy, and oftentimes you're left alone in spaces that are really dark and you might not want to be there, but at that same time, you get the opportunity to face fears that other people don't get to face simply because you're going against the social norm. And life's really short, and I don't want to fit in. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to have a unique life and be a unique person and have a unique life experience. So I've always chosen to be that black sheep. I chose to be an artist, which is a really difficult path. It's hard to make money. It's hard to make ends meet. It's hard to find that standard level of success as an artist. But I've been through life and I found the things that I love and I've attached to those things and I've married to those things. That's why I've remained a bicyclist and that's why I've been an artist my whole life. And even though it's not socially acceptable so much to just be riding a bicycle, not having a lot of money, drifting around, being outside of the box, not living like the vast majority of the people, like not being one of the masses, not being one of the sheep going against the grain, like that's okay. It worked well for me. And even though it comes with a lot of stress and oftentimes depression and anxiety, I've learned to deal with those things and turn those things into the things that drive me. So I pass through life riding my bicycle and I look for those shadows. I ride my bike in those shadows. I go down the old roads that are abandoned or closed. I ride my bike down the alleyways through cities that nobody goes to anymore. And I look for the shadows, my own fears in there. And those are the things I like to confront, because every time I confront one of those fears and one of those shadows, I grow a little bit. So like for me, being a black sheep just comes with growth. It comes with the human experience and making myself a better human. And to pass my time, I explore on my bicycle and I draw pictures. Those are my two passions in life, and I've turned them into the thing that I get to do the most and that I enjoy the most doing. It doesn't cost much money and it's totally satisfying, and I'm able to grow as a human in every day. I make a little bit of money, enough to feed myself. So what I do is I pass through life in these really extreme ways and I get to confront shadows. And the way that I get to get rid of these shadows is I express them through a creative process like drawing or filmmaking, or even exercise is a way to get rid of these shadows, or prayer or spiritual rituals, whatever it is that I'm using at the time. That's how I deal with these darknesses. And I have been guided through my life to be a shadow worker, and that's what I do in these videos, is the shadow work, and I share it with you so that you too can do the shadow work and hopefully move past some dark spaces in your life. So today what I'm doing is continuing this series of drawings that I've been doing with just regular household things. I've got a highlighter and a pen, and right now I'm going to draw a picture of a black sheep, though I don't have any black on me, so what I'm using is this pink and this blue pen, and I'm going to draw a picture of a sheep that's beyond a black sheep. It's a pink sheep, so it definitely stands the fuck out. And I'm going to use this drawing to help analyze and go through my experience with feeling different. Now, I'm expressing this whole feeling to you right now through this video, but this feeling I have of being different is basically an internal dialogue that I have while drawing this picture. And drawing this picture helps me to move through it because I've manifested this drawing. Final result is that I've turned a negative into a positive simply by taking this thing that I was feeling a little bit anxious about, you know, the feeling of not fitting in, and I've turned it into a drawing where it didn't help me fit in anymore, but it helped me to process it, and it helped me to leave this tangible thing that if anybody ever looks through this book or follows along this video or does the process themselves, will find it to be unique and interesting, and hopefully find some solace and some growth in it themselves. So anytime that you're feeling down, realize that it's not a bad thing. Anytime that you're feeling different, it's not a bad thing. It's actually something to be embraced, and it's the thing that makes you unique and special, because we are special. We're all different people. We all have different attributes and different successes and failures, and we all have shadows and dark spaces that we need to work through. And that's the key part of this life, is working through these shadows. So it's not all about successes, because to me, the failures, the things that we think are negative, are really the things we need to be seeking out. Because once we can learn to move past and deal with those things, then we're really being successful, because we know that we have the strength to deal with the dark shit that exists on this earth. So I say to you all, look for those dark things, look for those shadows, walk alone, be in solitude, take real long bike rides, spend days alone in rooms drawing pictures so that you can see the dark spots of yourself that you need to work with, that you need to work through, the traumas that you've experienced in your life, that if you learn to deal with them, those are your strengths, and you can take those strengths and do anything you want with them. You can find your confidences, you can find the great things about yourself, and they're not all light. Most of them are dark at first, but once you shed light on them, then they begin to help you grow. And every time that you let a shadow go in this world and you send it back to the place where it came from or back to the light, you make the world a little bit better each time. I encourage all of you to do this work, to do the shadow work, because every time you do the shadow work, you make yourself and the world a little bit better.